Orleans County is suing Genesee County Economic Development Center in an effort to stop construction of a sewage transmission pipeline. Orleans County alleges in the suit that the Genesee EDC broke state law trying to build the pipeline without approval. That pipeline is part of a major project to build a science, technology, and advanced manufacturing park known as STAMP. It promises to create thousands of tech jobs. Orleans County says if completed, the sewer line would do irreplaceable damage to a nearby creek, which they rely on for fishing and for tourism. Joining me right now from Investigative Post is reporter J. Dale Shoemaker. Thank you so much for joining us. You know, we're talking about this lawsuit and there's a lot going on in it. Can you break it down for us?
Yeah, sure. So the crux of this lawsuit is the Oak Orchard River. That is a river that starts in the swamps, the Alabama swamps, and then runs south to north into Lake Ontario. Now for Orleans County, this creek/river is a big deal. This is where their tourism and their fishing industry really lives. All those big trophy fish you see fishermen catching, those fish, they spawn and they feed in the Oak Orchard River. And so Orleans County is worried that the sewer line that STAMP is building to service the tenants at this industrial park, they're going to dump their wastewater into Oak Orchard Creek, and that's going to harm these fish and possibly damage the tourism industry. So they have filed a lawsuit in state Supreme Court alleging that the way that Orleans County has gone about building this, or Genesee County has gone about building this pipeline, is illegal. They allege two things specifically. Number one is they allege that the subsidiary organization of the Genesee County EDC that's building this was created illegally. And then second, they allege that this subsidiary is pursuing eminent domain in Orleans County without the permission of the Orleans County legislature.
There definitely is a lot going on here, so thank you for breaking that part down. Now, in the suit, one thing that stood out was that Orleans County alleging that Genesee did not get the proper authorization for actually building that new pipeline. With that being in the case, listen to this soundbite we're about to show. It talks about Genesee refusing to meet with Orleans. Let's listen.
We need conversations. We tried to have a conversation with GCEDC and our legislature in full, and they refused to meet with us.
Talk to me if you can about this. What's going on here? And does this go back to the lawsuit?
Yeah, so the subsidiary that's building this pipeline is known as STAMP Sewer Works. It's just an organization specifically for this. And STAMP Sewer Works got the permission of the town of Shelby in Orleans County to build this sewer line. That's the chair of the legislature who's arguing that you needed the permission of Orleans County as a whole to also approve the building of this sewer line. Now, all of this is complicated by the fact that Genesee County EDC paid more than $20,000 for a land easement to the former town of Shelby supervisor's sisters. So just to break that down, the town of Shelby's supervisor, his sisters, they own land where this pipeline would empty into the creek. And they were paid a lot more money than other landowners were paid in order to have the termination point of this pipeline on their land. Now, I couldn't get in touch with the sisters, but the former supervisor, Jeff Smith, he told me that they took this deal because they assumed that Genesee County was going to come and use eminent domain on their land, and they knew that Senator Chuck Schumer was behind it, and they figured there's a lot of horsepower behind this. We better just take the deal and walk away from this.
Yeah, and you know, this always is going back to the environment, right? And that's what people are concerned about. Now, the STAMP development promises to employ thousands of people. But let's listen to what Senator Schumer, who you just alluded to, listen to what he had to say.
For years, I've worked for good-paying jobs. So it's important, but it's also important to make sure, as it goes through Orleans County, that it doesn't do too much damage. I would just hope the counties could come together.
So what solution, if any, exists between these parties?
Well, the solutions right now are unclear because Orleans County is very clear in this lawsuit that they do not want any of this pipeline getting built into their county, and they don't want any of this wastewater getting dumped into their creek. And Genesee County EDC, for its part, they've already crossed off a couple of other options for dumping this wastewater. There's two other creeks that are close to the Tonawanda-Seneca Nation that they've agreed not to dump into, as well as some other places as well. So it's not really clear where this wastewater from this major industrial park could go, and meaning that we don't know what this is going to bring.
There's a lot going on here.
Yes,
and
there
you're going to
is.
stay with it, right?
Absolutely.
We have to break it down because, once again, it goes to the environment, and that's something that everybody has to be concerned about.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, think about the very large fish that you see, all those fishermen. We're talking the big ones that are
Right.
this large. Those fish, they are born and they feed in the creek that Stamp wants to dump the wastewater into. So that's kind of the center of all of this. And then you get into these land issues and you get into the easements with the payments and you get into all this other stuff. Now, with Chuck Schumer behind this, who knows where this goes? Maybe he's able to work out some kind of deal here. If they are not able to dump in this creek, I think we can probably assume that this is going to get more expensive, which would require more grant money from the state and or more grant money from the federal government.
Dale Shoemaker with our partners at Investigative Post. Thank you again for being with us here today on
Thank you so
Channel
much.
2 at 5:30.
Thanks for having
Well,
me.
here's